This video is going to be a little bit different than the budget tech videos that I usually do on this channel. And you guys already know most of the time I do budget tech because everything on this channel comes out of my own pocket. Well, today we're going to be looking at, well, the gear that you're seeing me through right now. We're talking about the Sony A6400 with the Sigma MC-11 adapter. And on that adapter, we have the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter lens. Yes, indeed, the infamous YouTuber lens. Let's chat about this gear, why I got it, and of course, we're going to be talking about all of that from a very YouTuber amateur perspective. And of course, one thing you guys need to know is that this video is going to be a little bit long, so check down in the description box for timestamps, or just look on your YouTube video timeline for the timestamps to be posted up there as well for you to click on. So let's get into it. So all this started as a small request from my dear wife over at Misha's Corner. Check up in the cards or down in the description box for a link, because she wanted to upgrade from our aging Nikon D3100. Yep, for all these years, she has been shooting on the very first camera and lens I've ever purchased, the Nikon D3100 with a 35 millimeter lens. This thing is holding on, okay? The battery door barely closes now. There's definitely something rattling inside the camera that shouldn't be because it's been dropped a couple times. Now, after 500 plus videos, and over 30,000 subs, she is ready for bigger, better projects that needs a little bit more camera horsepower than what our old little guy was able to put out. So, as the loving, supportive, and caring husband, I completely blew this out of proportion, and here we are. Sure, we could have easily got by with just the Sony A6400 paired with, say, the Sigma 16mm lens or the 35mm lens. Those would have did just fine, but for the flexibility we were looking for in our shots, we would have needed to purchase both of them. So with the price being what it is for both of those lenses, it still turned out to be kind of a better buy to shoot for the big boy, which is the Sigma 18 and 35. That's not to say that we won't get those lenses, because one thing I've noticed is that this lens is heavy AF. The point, however, is that this gear, no matter what, we are definitely sure that this will handle low light, color, and focusing with no problems, no matter whether I am shooting in our poorly lit to average lit kitchen for Misha's Corners videos, or whether shooting videos here in the office for this channel. It'll handle all of it, no problem. Also, I can get an adapter for this to put on my Panasonic G85. That way I can have the lens, the Sigma 1835, on both cameras, however I choose. And I might actually prefer to use the G85 or the Sony A6400 in some cases, or at least on this channel. And that leads us into the experience part of using this gear. Now, there's no doubt that filming with this particular setup is definitely different than filming with my usual setup with the G85. One thing I've noticed right off the back is that when I'm filming here, I'm a one-man man, and focusing is kind of a big deal because the G85 actually can't do it well worth a damn. All right, so with the autofocusing from the G85, love the camera, but it's trash. All right, so I have to use the app in order to focus with the G85, and I love the app, I really do. However, the Sony's app, to try to use that the way that I use the Panasonic app, that's a no-go. It seems like the app for the Sony cameras is just an afterthought. It lacks in controls. There is no focusing control in the app whatsoever. So trying to actually focus with the camera wastes so much time because I'm trying to connect the camera to the phone, which is also a big issue as well. Long story short, the Sony app definitely needs an overhaul. One of the only nice things about the app is that you can at least skip having to import pics if you did connect your phone to the camera before you take the pic with the app, and it'll automatically save into the phone. So you can skip that whole step. The great thing about this, if there is a good thing, the one thing that saves me from having to deal with the app is the fact that this A6400 is very good at autofocusing. I don't have to worry about whether I'm in focus or not. I know I'm in focus sitting here talking to you guys right now. And I also know I'm in focus because I can hear it from the Sigma 18-35, which has a very loud autofocusing motor. I can hear it right now. You guys won't hear it, but I can actually hear it as I'm talking to the camera. Thankfully, Misha won't have to deal with this because the way she shoots her videos, she's behind the trigger, always staring at the screen to get her focus and to take the videos of her recipes, whatever she has cooked or she is cooking. And she does her voice in post on her iPhone. That's right. Hundreds of videos on that channel has been edited via her iPhone. Sign of the times, people. Technology. So she does all of her shots beforehand, and then she does her voice in post. So she'll be able to take advantage of the two big focusing and zoom rings on the lens. Looking at the test pics and video that we're going through right now, needless to say, when it comes to the quality of the pics and video from the Sony A6400 paired with the Sigma 1835 lens, it's just great. The quality is great. It is everything we expected when we got this whole setup, when we spent the enormous amount of money for us to actually get this setup. We're really enjoying the pictures and video from this camera. One thing I do want to say when it comes to taking pictures and video, being able to quickly adjust the color temperature in the menu is also a pretty nice touch. However, at the same time, I like to pop out the SD card and import it via my PC. That test is a little bit harder because the SD card is in the battery compartment. A final thing I wanted to touch on is we've talked about pictures and video, But there is also one more aspect to my channel that I also like to use my camera for, and that is streaming. And that is also easier with the A6400 than it is with the G85, specifically because with the G85, it cannot be powered via USB while filming with the camera. So in short, I had to get a special battery that I can hook up to my G85 in order to be able to stream with it. With the Sony A6400, I didn't actually have to do that. I simply used the USB power that it came with, the USB cable it came with. I had to get an extension for my setup, plugged it into the wall, and it was good to go. I already had a micro HDMI cable that I can use. It's the same one that the G85 uses. So I plumbed that in through my Elgato Cam Link, and I was up and running in OBS in relatively no time. And it is so nice to be able to have that zoom control with that f1.8 aperture throughout the whole range. So I had the flexibility to zoom in and out like I never did before. The shot was great and the footage was cleaner because I didn't need as high ISO as I usually would need with my G85. Usually I need somewhere around 800 ISO to get a good, bright, clean picture. From this setup here, all I really needed was 200 ISO and I was good to go. So it is really, really nice to be able to stream with this. A little awkward to see this huge lens pointed at you, but still, it was nice. One thing I want to actually say about streaming is that when you pull in the HDMI from the camera into your OBS, you will notice that all the data on the screen comes over with it. So the same data and settings that you usually see all over the screen when you're staring behind the camera, you actually see that in your OBS when you pull the HDMI into your OBS via whatever your capture card is. You jump into the settings and go into the HDMI display info settings and you can disable it. It won't disable what you see on the screen when you're standing behind the camera. It'll only disable sending that data over HDMI into your OBS. That way you'll have a true clean picture and clean HDMI footage coming out of the camera into your stream. All in all, I guess I can sum all this up by saying that it has been a pretty great experience using the Sony A6400, with the Sigma 1835 lens. Everything has been working really well, so it has been a good experience. There is definitely some setbacks. It's not perfect. Like I said before, the lens is heavy. If you're a vlogger, you're gonna need to hit the gym if you're actually gonna be walking around using this kind of setup. The autofocus is loud. You're not going to be able to use the built-in audio because of this. You're going to always be stuck using external sound, but that is not a fault of the A6400. That is a fault of the Sigma 18-35. If you're using Sony lenses, if you're using Sigma lenses that are built for Sony that you don't have to adapt to, most likely you won't have any issues with autofocusing and using the built-in sound as well. It probably won't be as loud. I think it's just this lens that does that. And of course, we can't forget that terrible app. The app needs an overhaul, Sony, period. It needs an overhaul. Despite all of that, it is a low light monster. It is a flexible setup to be able to literally get video and pictures in almost any setting. Obviously, even at night, but you still do need a little bit of light, obviously, to get the great pictures and great video out of this. But even in low light, even if you're outside at nighttime, as long as you take care of the shots that you're trying to get in the video you're trying to get, making sure your light's in the right place, this gear definitely will not fail you. It is really, really awesome to have this. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the price. This is not cheap. This setup is almost $1,700. The lens with the adapter was about $800. And then the body by itself with no lens is also close to $800 when you take on taxes. So we bought the body first, and then we bought the lens and adapter second. Pretty much, like I say, we were on a budget, so we had to kind of piggyback these things. We couldn't get it all at once. We had to piece it together, and that's probably something you're gonna have to do as well if you're trying to get this set up, depending on your budget. The question is, do you need it? Is this something that you need? I can't really answer that for you. It's really going to depend on what you're trying to do. Like I said, we were looking for something where we can do bigger projects, and also we're looking for something that's going to last us some years to come. This gear is going to last us for years to come. We won't really need to upgrade much more beyond this for quite some time. We will definitely be getting other lenses but we won't need to do this whole huge purchase for quite a little while. So it really depends on what you're trying to do, which will determine whether buying something like this is worth it for you. All right. I hope this video has helped you some. I know it's been long. For those of you who actually stuck in and sat through the entire thing, I definitely do thank you. If you're new around here, don't know what we do tech videos and streams all the time. Subscribe down below so you can see all of that. And of course, jump down in the comments, leave your thoughts on this gear, on this video, or any other thing you want to ask me about. Leave that down in the comments below. I will try my best to get back to you if possible. All right. You guys have a good one. I see you. Bye.